Hello everyone, welcome back to some more of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Last time, a great deal of things happened. Well, okay, not too many things happened actually. As I seem to remember, I believe we tried to explore the experimentation stage, only to find out that we need permission from Lord Strongheart. So we went there, got permission, and heard a few other things about forensics, a new type of technology that's being developed. And we even got to visit Dr. Sithe, the coroner for this case. We got to see her, laboratory. Sorry, words escape me sometimes. Anyways, we also went to Madame Tisbel's. We wanted to find that Sholmes isn't here. And after all that, we went back and gave the card, gave Trevor's business card to Gina. So that way her and her dog can track down their location. And we have permission, so we can actually, go investigate we can investigate the machine now, as long as we don't touch anything. So, same rule as before. These stairs lead up to the experimentation stage. Let's go see what we can find out. October 23rd, the Great Exhibition Grounds. Experimentation stage.
Oh my! So this is the machine that was used to deceive people into thinking instantaneous kinesis had taken place.
Yes, that's right. Or rather, it was the machine. It's a little worse for wear at the moment.
What extraordinary lengths Professor Harebrayne went to in order to obtain the research grant.
No, the professor was tricked as well. He didn't know anything about it.
Yes, of course. It is amazing though, isn't it? The scale of the whole affair is so very British.
You're right about that. You never see such grand deception in Japan, that's for sure.
Oh look, is that...
Lord Van Zeeks? Why is he here? So, I think we're more or less done here, aren't we? Shall we, Miss Sato?
Already?
He is the Reaper, remember? We do well to keep our distance, I think.
But we have permission to be here, from the top. We're perfectly well allowed to investigate this machine, as long as we do not touch anything.
From the top? Do you mean Lord Strongheart?
Exactly. So we can stay here and stare at this wreckage for as long as we like.
She could have been at the center of the explosion here and it wouldn't have bent her steel will. Well, before we talk to Grumpy Pants over here, let us look around. I don't think we really got to last time.
What a terrible explosion it must have been. Even the steel girders have been buckled and twisted in the blast.
And what they called the birdcage was right in the middle of it all. Just here.
But look, Mr. Naruhodo, that metal grill on the floor looks as though it's designed to open.
It does, doesn't it? If the floor had opened at the precise moment the explosion had occurred, the birdcage could have dropped through and disappeared from sight.
I don't think there's any doubt that this was a very elaborate hoax, is there?
Yeah. So, but then what explains the other what explains the other person? And how Dr. Sithe said they were the same, both the person inside the birdcage here and the one in the Crystal Tower were the same person. That doesn't exactly explain much either, now does it?
Look at that horn-shaped transmitting device. Isn't it amazing?
That's exactly what I thought when I first saw it.
It makes you think, doesn't it? If only it had been just a normal horn, none of this would have happened.
That's almost exactly what I thought as well. I bet I can predict what you're going to say next in that case. You're about to say, nothing ever goes to plan, aren't you?
Oh no, I would never say something like that.
Alright. Anything else? What is this? Is that another bird cage? This wasn't here yesterday.
Really? But if I'm not mistaken, it's the cage in which the victim was standing before you was apparently beamed through the air.
Oh, that's right. The bird cage, according to what Professor Harebrained said in court. It's made of wood. That looks a bit more metallic to me.
Or more precisely, Japanese cypress, I think. And despite having been in an explosion and then falling from a great height, it's relatively unharmed. What wonderfully durable construction, wouldn't you say, Mr. Naruhodo?
I had understood that the forensic investigation team had taken it away yesterday to examine it. I suppose they must have brought it back here when they'd finished their work.
But sadly not with the body inside it.
No, that's right. I know we were given strict instructions not to touch anything, but still, this is too important a piece of evidence to overlook. We might need it for the trial. Yeah? Did we just... I guess we just jotted it down? I mean... Let's look at... What the heck? The base is damaged. Ah! Look here, Mrs. Sato.
Oh yes, the wood's cracked and broken a little. I suppose because it fell from such a height. Yeah?
Yes, from the height at which the balloon was flying down onto the crystal tower below. A fall of about 30 feet, or 9 meters.
Leaving the man inside tragically dead.
Huh. Alright then. So it fell and he was in... Huh. I wonder how that... hold up. No, that's not how he died, because... Wasn't it... Neck broken from an impact of a violent fall. Okay, never mind. I know he was stabbed, but I forgot... Sorry, I was too close to the mic. I knew he was stabbed, but, I didn't realize that his neck was broken, too. Okay. Anywho. Nothing else to really look at, I think. Other than the Ferris wheel.
I hear that a ride on the Ferris wheel is a favorite romantic outing among young London couples.
I think the romance would be slightly spoiled by the abject terror personally, but then I'm not a Londoner.
Are you a little scared of heights, Mr. Naruhodo?
It's not that I'm scared, not at all. It's just that staying on the ground seems so much safer.
Well, perhaps I shall have to ask the Iris and Mr. Sholmes to accompany me on it in that case.
Well, when you put it like that, part of me does want to give it a try.
Oh dear, it is complicated for you, isn't it?
Alright. No avoiding it. I'm gonna try and make his voice sound a little... I'll try and make his voice sound a bit gravelly, I guess. Sound less like Lord Strongheart's. Least approachable man in the world winner. 10 years in a row.
Be strong, Mr. Naruhodo. Your country and your assistants stand firm behind you.
Lord Van Zeeks? What? Well... Beautiful weather we're having, isn't it? I thought I was making it quite clear that I didn't want to be disturbed. Apparently, you Nipponese are unequipped to read the signs. Oh, I read them. So, what are you doing here? Entry to this area is prohibited. Well, the thing is...
Lord Chief Justice Strongheart granted us permission to investigate, on the condition we didn't disturb anything.
And yet you've managed to disturb me. Ah. Never mind. State your business then. Come to think of it, there are quite a few things I'd like to ask Lord Van Zieks about. Not least of which is that awful case, even though it's nothing to do with this.
Ask away, Mr. Naruhodo. You won't know unless you try.
Alright, let's just rip the band-aid off. So, Clint. Was the name of your older brother, I understand, Lord Van Zieks? You Nipponese. I always have to be on guard whenever you're around. So, you've been investigating me, have you? Oh, no, it's not like that. Well, alright, it is a bit like that. My older brother was also a prosecutor. He was the pride of the Van Zieks family. But, tragically, a vicious killer took him from us.
The professor, you mean?
Is something funny? That's the extent of what you've discovered, is it? I shouldn't be surprised.
Sorry? There's more to it then?
Lackluster work is very much your trademark, isn't it?
Ugh, you're too kind. Are you going to tar all the Nipponese with the same brush next?
So, tell me, what's your interest in that historic incident?
As it happens, Lord Van Zieks, there's a rather curious case that's come to our attention. Are you aware of the Madame Tussauds Museum of Waxwork by any chance?
I am, naturally. I believe that since last month I feature in one of the displays there, for public scorn.
Of course, the infamous Reaper of the Bailey would have to be exhibited, wouldn't he? Well, a particular waxwork has been stolen from the place and held for ransom.
A particular waxwork, which... Wait! You mean...
Yes, it's the professor. Mr. Sholmes is investigating the case as we speak.
I was unaware of that.
He's turned as white as a sheet. Are the police trying to locate the engineer, Mr. Drebber, already?
Surely that goes without saying.
We're very keen to see him found as well. The trouble is, we don't have much to go on aside from the description of the man we heard in court earlier. Which, and according to Professor Hairbrain, was of a tall, thin gentleman who has straight white hair and wears a black monocle. So, I was just wondering, I mean, I realize it's probably not possible, but, we very much appreciate it if any more clues you can give us. Wow, Susato-san really knows how to take the bull by the horns.
I mean, well, she did basically tamper with the crime scene, so...
I mean beforehand, but...
Fine. Why not? I have a photograph of the man here from an investigation 10 years ago. Though it appears he already had that black monocle at the time. What?
Oh, no, nothing. I was just surprised that you'd shared that with us.
We all need the man's testimony in court tomorrow. Which means we have to do everything we possibly can to track him down in the short time available. So, why wouldn't I show you the photograph?
What is it about Lord Van Zieks? Sometimes I just can't work him out at all. Well, we have a picture. That's good. We now know what he looks like.
Ah, the file I requested for the trial tomorrow. Thank you.
Are you alright? Who's this man, Mr. Naruhodo?
Lord Van seeks his apprentice, apparently. So I'm not the only one. Susato-san can see it too.
Lord Van Zeeks? May we speak with your apprentice for a moment?
With him? Why?
Kazuma-sama!
Kazuma.
I don't believe it! Your posture, your presence. It can only be... It's you, isn't it, Kazuma-sama?
I felt something strange the very first time I encountered this cloaked figure. As if I knew him somehow. Can it really be you, Kazuma?
Wait!
Too late. What's going on here? What is your interest in my apprentice exactly? You act as if you know the man or something.
Well, since when has he been in your care? I don't recall you having an apprentice before I left Britain 6 months ago.
Lord Strongheart introduced him to me about 3 months ago now, with instructions to mentor him as a prosecutor. But he didn't tell you why, did he? The man appears to be suffering from amnesia. He's forgotten every last detail about himself.
He has amnesia?
Tomorrow he will appear in court at my side.
What?
He's to serve as my judicial assistant on Lord Strongheart's orders. He'll be in court with us? Now then, unless I'm much mistaken, I believe this conversation has run its course. Oh, yes, thank you.
I definitely saw a reaction there. When Susato-san called out like that, it really seemed to hit a nerve. When she called out, Kazuma-sama. You'd already met that masked man, hadn't you, Mr. Naruhodo?
Yes. Yesterday, in fact, at Lord Van Zeeks' office.
I see. And if Kazuma-sama is really still alive, it means that Mr. Sholmes lied to us.
I know. We're gonna need to speak to him about that. You're going to have to leave now. The forensic investigation team are due to arrive shortly. If they find you here, it will cause problems.
What sort of problems?
Foreign affairs problems.
Well, we could do without that.
Alright, we'll be on our way. Let us go, Mrs. Sato.
Of course.
Well, I think we've done all the investigating we can here for now.
If we could just determine the whereabouts of Mr. Drebber. I'm sure Gina and little Toby won't let us down. Now then, do you think we ought to try to speak with Mr. Sholmes at this point? We have things to discuss, and I'm dying to meet him again after all these months. Yes, it's quite possible you might know something useful. You're right. We ought to find him at Madame Tussbell's. He's supposed to be working there as a temporary waxwork exhibit. Yes, I was told me all about his latest unusual adventure. Yay. Alright, let us head there now. Look at me, already getting tired after like 20 minutes. I mean, it is 10:25, but still. 23rd of October, Madame Tussbell's Museum of Waxworks. Here we are again, at the House of Horrors. I'm afraid I haven't gotten used to the place yet. I'd still like to turn my heels and go straight home, via the confectionery, of course. Susato-san really is after something sweet today, isn't she? What's the matter? Look, Mr. Naruhodo, look at that waxwork. I'm quite sure it wasn't there before. It looks exactly like Mr. Sholmes, down to the very last detail. Aha. What is it? Oh, sorry, I think you'll find... That's the temporary waxwork himself. Ah. Oh, right. What was her voice again? Ah, the friend of my dedicated employee. Ah, yes, hello again. It's Ryunosuke. Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I must say, I am quite spellbound by the great detective. He is a marvel. My precious waxwork is already back where it belongs. You don't mean... But yes, the mystery is solved already. Wow. Mr. Sholmes can really engage his brain when he's hungry enough. So, as you can see, he has returned to his habitual duties. Yes. His habitual duties? Laws. Do not disturb, huh? Poor Susato-san. She looks very perplexed. Well, I guess we can't really disturb him, can't we? Yes, let's look at... No, okay, we already did this, didn't we? Alright. We were here, we've already been here before, so we already looked at all this stuff. I guess let's just talk to the waxwork. We really do need to speak with Mr. Sholmes, and I am longing to say hello again. But where is he? I think you might find that he's quite nearby, actually. Oh? What? What are you... Indeed, my dear fellows, it is I! The world-famous great detective and waxwork, Sherlock Sholmes. Susato-san! Susato-san! My most humble apologies. I thought I'd died and gone to eternal paradise for a moment, via London. My dear madam, allow me to make amends by offering you a tasty free deduction at some point. As long as it's not of questionable street food quality. I don't understand. Why are you working as a waxworker here, Mr. Sholmes? Merely a secret identity, you understand. Though the case is largely solved now. Largely solved? We're talking about the waxwork abduction, I presume? Indeed we are, my good fellow. As I predicted, it was as easy as proverbial pie. Though I confessed I meant to partake of a pie, proverbial or otherwise, or any food so far today for that matter. That stomach rumble echoed throughout the whole museum. So, how did you manage to solve it so quickly? Ah, Do remember, I said it was largely solved. Anyway, I simply negotiated with the culprit. Are you familiar with the so-called telephone? Oh yes, it's a most modern invention, allowing you to hold a conversation with people far away. In Japan, only the imperial capital and a handful of other cities are connected as yet. This morning, a telephone call was received here from the perpetrator of the abduction. As such, I was able to negotiate terms, and in the end, the waxbook was returned. That's amazing! Just between you and I, it would appear the culprit had always intended to return the stolen waxbook in any event. Oh? But I thought whoever was responsible had demanded a ransom, no? Yes, I think perhaps the ransom demand was necessary to avoid unwanted suspicion regarding the true motive. But does that not mean your negotiation was entirely unnecessary? Fact, I must ask you to keep from Madame Tussauds at all costs. A hungry young Iris awaits my return to Baker Street, after all. Poor Iris. Now then, do I sense that you have some business with this great waxbook? We're in the process of trying to track somebody down. Oh? Yes, a man by the name of Enoch Drebber. He's a swindler who duped Professor Hairbrain and the engineer who built the kinesis machine. A swindler and an engineer? Quite the modern man. He also seems to be a conjurer of sorts, with considerable knowledge of stage magic. We really need to locate him before the trial resumes tomorrow morning. But we have so few clues to go on. That's the trouble. Do you have any good ideas? I have no data yet. It is a capital mistake to have good ideas before one has data. If I knew something of the man's appearance, at least I may be in a better position to help. Yes, Drebber's appearance. Fortunately for you, however, presently I have little to occupy myself and little to fill my stomach. As soon as you find any clue, no matter how small, I shall gladly give you my thoughts on it. Which we have, of course. But let's talk about Cosmo's death first off. Mr. Sholmes, did you lie to us? My dear Mr. Naruhodo, stay that piercing stare. What is this about? Last winter, when we were first on our way to Britain aboard the steamship, your words were very clear. So then, let us unravel this mystery and discover what events led to this curious murder. You told us that it was a murder, and you examined Cosmo-sama's body. Indeed, and wherein lies the problem? We met him earlier today, the victim, Kazuma Asogi. You're quite sure? He was wearing some sort of mask and was apparently suffering from amnesia. But yes, I'm quite sure it was Kazuma-sama. You must have known at the time, Mr. Sholmes, that he wasn't actually dead. Well, I can only assume I was swept up in the murderous atmosphere of the moment. But the fellow wasn't dead at all? Priceless. I don't suppose that performance would pass muster, would it, Mr. Naruhodo? I can believe that the crewman present at the time made a mistake, but not you, Mr. Sholmes. I will now tell you something of the first importance, my dear fellow. Great detectives are wont to lie. It will serve you well to remember that. Please, Mr. Sholmes. tomorrow in court, you will find yourself on the threshold of a very great mystery. For now, I'm afraid that is all I can say.
Alright then. Let's show him the picture. Mr. Sholmes, would you cast your eyes over this photographic print?
It's of Mr. Enoch Drebber, the face of the engineer we seek.
Well, all Englishmen look broadly the same, of course. So, looking at the photograph won't be particularly instructive.
Are you alright, Mr. Sholmes?
Ah, yes, forgive me. Very interesting, this. Very interesting indeed.
What's wrong, Mr. Sholmes? You turned quite pale all of a sudden.
I have a suggestion, Mr. Norhedo. Will you indulge me?
Oh?
Well, what is it? As I explained to you when you arrived, the missing waxwork has been returned. And I personally reinstalled it in the exhibit from which it was taken, behind those thick curtains. Ah, yes, the Professor exhibit, isn't it? Would you like to see it? For a mere 5 shillings? That's a special, one-time only price, you understand?
What?
The opportunity won't come again, I might add. Wouldn't you like to see the fruits of my labor?
Oh? Well, we do have a rather pressing investigation to carry out.
Perhaps we can postpone. The price is a very reasonable 5 shillings. I think you'll find it's well worth it. Are you being quite serious, Mr. Sholmes? Surely you need only look at my expression to ascertain if this is seriousness or silliness. I can never tell with you. That's the point.
Very well. It couldn't hurt. Here's your 5 shillings.
Gratefully received. So, the special exhibit awaits behind the curtain. I invite you to peruse it at your leisure.
Well, the money's been spent, so let's go see the special exhibit.
Alright. Huh. Through those heavy curtains at last. Well, we were through them before, technically. $5 we'd had to pay. Doesn't seem right somehow that Mr. Sholmes slipped the money into his own pocket, does it?
No. Ah, we could ask Gina to retrieve it for us using our special skills.
Pickpocketing police officer and diddling detectives. Is this what makes Britain great? Not to mention demigod prosecutors taking the law into their own hands or chip-loving inspectors.
Inspector Gregson comes off rather well on that list, I think.
What's behind curtain number 1? What the...
Oh dear. I felt a shiver down my spine as soon as we walked in here.
Miss Usato, I say we turn on our heels and go straight home via a really big confectionery.
We certainly can't do that. We've paid 5 shillings already.
True. Actually, now I'm looking a little more closely. We've paid good money to see an exhibit that's clearly incomplete. The nerve of that great diddling detective is far more terrifying than anything in this place.
This must be what Mr. Sholmes meant when he said that the case was largely solved.
Largely solved. Be that as it may, Mr. Sholmes heavily implied there'd be a clue about the engineer in here, didn't he? But where? Ah well, since we've paid 5 shillings, let's do 5 shillings worth of investigation, shall we?
Yes, we will get what we paid for.
Is that fear or frustration that's making Susato-san's voice tremble? Alrighty then. I guess let's look around a bit more then.
This must be the killer, the fiend known as the Professor.
Not much of a professor with his head cut off, is he? Yes, I think so, according to what Madame Tussbell said. He killed 5 victims, all of noble or royal blood.
The waxwork is so lifelike, isn't it? Like all the models in this place.
I know. It looks like it could start moving at any moment, doesn't it? If only it had a head, that is. Perhaps we should examine it in a little more detail. It is missing a head. Grand. That's it.
So this is the condemned man.
Yes, the so-called professor. I was about to say prosecutor.
Then perhaps his head was chopped off by a guillotine? But unable to find peace, he emerged from his grave as a headless ghost.
Do we have to entertain such terrifying ideas, Mr. Sato? Anyway, I'm sure the model had a head once. There's a metal fitting for it, see?
Then perhaps Mr. Sholmes absently minded to reattach it?
That's an extremely absent-minded detective you're describing, isn't it?
Or perhaps the thief absent-mindedly forgot to include the head when he or she returned it to the museum?
And that would be an extremely absent-minded thief. Could there have been some reason why only the head wasn't returned? Well, whatever the reason, it means we don't know what the face of the infamous professor looked like, do we? Oh. There's something caught just inside the convict's jacket here. It looks like a piece of broken glass, and quite a big piece too.
It's very thick, isn't it? About 5 times thicker than normal window glazing, I'd say.
Where could such a thick piece of glass have come from, I wonder?
I suppose it must have been made thick to increase its strength.
But why?
Well, perhaps because the glass had to span a particularly wide area, such as in a big building, for example.
Ah, well, we've seen a large glass building recently, haven't we? And some of the glass was broken. Anyways, let's see.
You don't mean...
Exactly. The Crystal Tower at the Great Exhibition.
But why would glass from the Crystal Tower be lodged inside this waxwork's jacket?
Excuse me for a sec. Alright, sorry about that. I had to make a note of something.
It makes you think, doesn't it?
Alrighty then. Earlier in court we established that the kinesis experiment was a trick. And now we discover this fragment of glass in this waxwork. Is it just a coincidence? But... Anywho. Let's back up a bit and look at this little guy here. Well, I say little, but...
This part of the exhibit is just as disturbing as the rest. It looks so real.
It seems to be a young man in a white overcoat.
And he has a large shovel in his hand too. Look.
Let's investigate a little more in detail of him. Yeah? The shovel? Okay.
What a large shovel. He's holding it rather ominously, isn't it? Easy. What on earth was that man doing with a shovel in a graveyard in the middle of the night?
Mr. Sato?
Yes?
That's a spade, isn't it?
No, it's a shovel.
No, shovels are for digging. That's for scooping up loose material. It's a spade. We've been through this, Mr. Naruhodo.
We've been through this, Mr. Naruhodo. It's a shovel.
No. Although, we haven't considered trowels. That's too big to be a trowel.
We've allowed ourselves to be distracted, I feel.
Perhaps we should concentrate on what the man was doing with the implement. So we're going to bury the hatchet? You're right, though. What was the man doing in the graveyard with the place? in the first place? That's the real question. Alright. And here has a camera, that's nice. They actually lit the candle? Huh. That's a large lamp the man's carrying.
Or is it a lantern? It's not unlike a Japanese chochin paper, actually, is it? Lamp, lantern, chochin. The point is that it casts very little light. To be walking alone in a graveyard at night with only this.
Well, I certainly couldn't do it. I'm not sure I could visit a graveyard at all, even in broad daylight, to be honest. What's this here?
Well, this would appear to be a lens in the middle, so I believe it's probably a camera.
A camera? But it's so small. You think this is small?
British technology is incredible, isn't it? I mean, what about Mr. Sholmes' skin prints? I think perhaps you should treat Mr. Sholmes' inventions as exceptions to the rule. But anyway, why would the man be in a graveyard at night with a camera?
I wonder.
Perhaps he was trying to capture the moment a dead body came back as a ghost on film? We'll just borrow this for a little while, I think.
Yeah, gonna steal from the exhibits?
By looking at the photographic plate inside the camera, we can see what picture was taken.
What's a photographic plate?
It's a piece of glass coated in special emulsion that reacts to the light coming in through the lens. If we open the cover at the back of the camera, we should find it. Let's have a look.
You should see yourself, Susato-san. Your eyes are shining.
You really do like machinery, don't you?
Alright, well, we can do that. Oh, okay, good. It'll let us. Let us look first off. Yeah, it is pretty thick. Wow. That was like, looks like an inch or so thick. Well, hey. Anyways, let's open the photographic thing and see what...
Ooh, look, oh look, the cover came open. Yes, now there should be a glass plate inside. You have to change the plate with each new photograph you want to take, you see.
Wow! The glass is so clean, it's like I can't even see it.
There is no plate. It has been removed.
Ah, what a pity. But I suppose if you think about it, this would be the actual camera used at the time, just like the waxwork isn't an actual person. So we never have found a photographic print of the executed convict coming back to life anyway.
Oh, yes. You're quite right, of course.
Here, let me fix. I'm just fixing my seat. That way, I'm a bit more comfortable. Poor Susato-san. She looks devastated. Oh well. Seems like there's nothing else that's like useful about this camera anyhow. What a wonderful machine.
You really love contraptions like this, don't you? Oh yes. Anything mechanical I find absolutely irresistible.
Almost irresistible, surely?
Well, whenever I see a pocket watch, for example, I can't help myself. I simply have to take it apart.
That's worrying.
Yes. Father tells the time by the rumblings of his stomach now. He's given up having a watch.
Poor Professor Mikotoba. What is this?
Oh, Mr. Naruhodo.
What is it?
On the bellows just here, there seems to be some very dark red stains.
Yes, you're right. It looks like blood, actually.
Oh. Oh my.
I'm sure it's not what you're thinking. Yeah. Anyways, let's get to what we've all been waiting for. Let's move a bit higher. Can I move higher? Okay. No, that's... There. I can't see his face very well, can you? Can you? Perhaps if I just...
Oh, do you think you should be manhandling the exhibits, Mr. Naruhodo?
I'll put it back exactly as it was, don't worry. Oh. He looks rather familiar.
Ah. Well, what on earth? How can... I don't believe it. A black monocle. Mr. Naruhodo, is it possible that this man is...
Yes. It's Enoch Drebber. The color of his hair is different, but it's unmistakably him. Alright, let's put him back. Okay, there. Indeed it is. Oh, indeed it is. Mr. Sholmes. This man is the subject of your present hunt, I believe. Yes, that's right. Just who is this man? Why is he here in this exhibit? And why does the convict behind him have no head? The head was missing when the model was returned by the thief who stole it. What a surprise. So then this case isn't yet solved, is it? Did I not say so myself? Largely solved on my words, I believe. But I must locate the missing head to dissuade, as Madame would say, or I'll be in grave trouble. A very hungry iris still awaits my return to Baker Street, preferably with rations. Ah!
Do you know, though? Something about this room is strange.
Strange? What do you mean?
Well, the displays in the House of Horrors are supposed to depict real events, are they not?
Indeed they are, Mr. Sato. Do go on.
And, as terrifying as they are, the scenes in the other exhibits are believable. But this one... This surely couldn't ever really have happened, could it?
I think it's time I educated you a little about the nature of the incidents involving the professor 10 years ago. Alright, and we will hear of those incidents next time. Yeah. Sorry for leaving you guys on a cliffhanger, but, well, for one thing, I'm getting pretty tired and it's getting pretty late for me. So, yeah. Next time we're going to hear a lot more about the professor, and, if we're right, I think we're going to pretty much do the last part of this investigation. So, yeah. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time.